pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the
of the
flag
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Chairperson, you want to announce our special event?
So before I read our announcement, I would just like to say that Commissioner Seitzman was again, I'm sorry, I lost.
She was reappointed.
I'm sorry, she was reappointed to the Hoboken Housing Authority by the state of New Jersey.
You stay there, I'll stay here.
Okay.
Okay, so Commissioner Seitzman, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Erica Seitzman,
I, Erica Seitzman,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear truth and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of Commissioner of the Hoboken Housing Authority.
of the office of the Commissioner of the Hoboken Housing Authority,
According to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would like to advise those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken has been provided to the public in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting Thursday, December 14, 2023 was given by publication of the annual meeting notice of the authority with amendments as necessary. Was sent to the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger on Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. Was sent to the City Clerk of Hoboken on Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, with a copy of the agenda to be posted on bulletin board in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted on the Authority website on Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. I direct the minutes of this meeting to state that I have announced that adequate notice of this meeting has been given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Director, roll call.
Anthony Forbes,
Present.
Andrew Impastato,
Here.
Aaron Lewitt. Here. Barbara Reyes,
Here.
Michael Russo,
Present.
James Sanford, Erica Seitzman.
Present.
I don't know if we have- Do we have anyone signed up for?
You have to, are you gonna read the, what's that thing you sent?
Yeah, that's going to be, the director's going to talk about that. We are going to.
No.
No? Okay. Director, do you want to state about the statement that was sent in?
I can.
You will share later on?
Yes, there was a statement that was sent in by, let me grab it. I thought we were going to do it later, but it's right here. There was a statement sent in by Paul Crescenzano, and as we know, he's the first ward councilman-elect, and he was intending to be here tonight, but he could not be here. So he asked that his statement be read into the record as a public comment. And this is dated December 13th, 2023. Dear Chairman Reyes, I cannot attend your meeting this evening. However, I wanted to submit some comments in the public portion of your meeting. On November 29th, 2023, I received an email signed by an HHA Commissioner, Sanford, asking me to sign a pledge dealing with election integrity. I wasn't sure if this was HHA sanctioned or an effort by the individual commissioner. What is concerning is that the email stated that if I did not reply to the email by noon on Thursday, November 30, my answer would be no. I value my growing relations with HHA and look forward to growing it in the future. Thank you for your time, On this matter, signed Paul Presenzano, 1st Ward, Councilman-elect.
And I guess as we go forward in the agenda, it will make more sense as to why this was actually read out loud. And I think the director has copies for you guys.
I think the director, I'm sorry, has.
Copies of the statement that was submitted. So Director, I guess we go into your report today.
I would be glad to. So I just want to start out with a happy holiday to all. Yeah, the season's upon us. I'm enthused about the holiday season. On Wednesday, December 13th, last night, we had an inspiring ceremony for our new Hall of Fame inductees. It was our 3rd ceremony. Ricardo Figueroa and Annette Chaparro were the honorees, and it was just moving. It was a tremendous evening. I don't know, Andrew was singled out.
It was personal for me because, it was great to see Ricardo, who I've, shared a lot of memories and experiences, and he talked about me being his, kind of his advisor and counsel, and it was very warm for that part, but also from just a general standpoint, I think Corinne does an amazing job with these ceremonies, seeing what our residents, and people that are local in our neighborhood are doing and how they are heroes, like you talked about. It's very impactful. It's very inspiring, and it's fantastic. So big up to Corinne for putting on those events.
Thank you all for being there. It makes all of this worth it. This is what we do. We house people. We house families. That the kids grow up and they make successes of themselves. You hear the negatives all the time. And it's just so inspiring to hear them say thank you for a home. So thank you all. We are holding holiday celebrations at all of our senior disabled buildings. And this Saturday is our 3rd annual Winter Wonderland celebration in partnership with the Familyhood Resident-Led Group. Come and join us from 4 to 7 at the Arlette Braxton Courtyard. Eric, you want to say anything more about we're going to have entertainment?
Yes, so this is a brainchild between Familyhood and Housing, especially the Resident Services Committee. They really wanted to go away from just having, say, toy drives or turkey drives or anything, and really integrate the community so it becomes a community event, not just giving out XYZ. So we have a huge lineup this year. Frankie's singing. We can't wait to hear about that. We have community groups from all over the town. We have cocoa, we have cookies, we have the police, the fire, all coming and handing out toys. But it really is supposed to become a community event. Everybody comes onto our property, and we have some cheer together. So we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you. And Eric has been very, very involved in helping to plan that and get that together. So thank you. To add to these holiday blessings, I couldn't help this, our employee Jasmine Santos, daughter of Shauna Oliver, has recently given birth to Ayla. A beautiful and healthy baby girl. We wish mom and daughter the best. We're so proud of her. Wonderful young lady. I held my quarterly round of meet and greet gets-together at all of our sites in November. We reviewed safety, maintenance, and security issues. I come away from each meeting with a better understanding of how we can better serve our residents. And again, residents, thank you for showing up for those. Staff also gave an important presentation in advance of the HUD implementation of new regulations. Their acronym is HOTMA, and this is a regulation that's going to be phased in over 2024 regarding some aspects of rent calculations, how much folks can have in savings, how much they can deduct for medical expenses, and lease provisions that are expected to be finalized by HUD and the Housing Authority during 2024. Our deadline is that by the end of 2024 that everything's in place. We'll have it before that. You will see over the coming months us coming back to you with some revisions to our ACOP, our admissions policies based on HOTMA. but it's coming. So we did a very nice presentation. That, again, Corinne wrote up a great presentation for us, PowerPoint, and Frank gave the presentation, and I think folks understood of what's coming and what's to be. There's a lot of positives for residents in this, a lot of positives. So there was much discussion, particularly at Fox Hill, about the issue of the housing of individuals under 62 years of age. Our regulation from HUD is that senior is defined as 62 and over or disabled. And there's the rub, is that I think as time has gone by, as this law was in, that more and more folks are determined to be disabled, some mentally disabled, some physically, and they don't always mix well with the senior population. So we're struggling with that issue. We're certainly doing what we can on the eviction side, but we are also talking to HUD, talking to our legal counsel, and examining the concept and seeing if there's any alternatives we could come up with on this, because we need to do something. But we also need to understand that folks with disabilities need some place to live too. So it's a two-edged sword. And but we'll be working on this, and I would expect that as we come up with some proposed solutions, we'll be talking to you about those over the next months. We continue to work closely with HPD and residents. We are continuing to work continually with our security guard service, and we have seen some improvements. I think at our meet and greet here at Adams, we got some really, really positive response on the changes with security. Monroe mixed, Knox a little more mixed. Our main issue that came up at both of those sites was that folks are hanging in the lobby during the evenings, and the security guards talking to them and all of that. So what we've done is we've gone back to the security company and said, absolutely not. Make sure your guards understand there's no one that's supposed to be hanging in the lobby. That's what this room's for. Come here and socialize, hang out here. These rooms are open. So we're posting signs that inform residents not to hang out, and we're talking to that security company about that's a no-no as well. I'm pleased to say that HPD, in cooperation with other Hudson County areas, made a significant drug bust this past month, which I think we've seen some real change for. And I don't know if they're here yet? No. But great work by the HPD. Hoboken Housing Forward got some really good news. The redevelopment plan went back to City Council for a first reading on December 6th and was unanimously passed on first reading. Thank you, Councilman. The plan then went to the Planning Board on December 12th. I went to the Planning Board and it was unanimously passed by the Planning Board, who then, as I understand it, writes you guys a letter in the resolution saying we support this. So that will be on December 20th. So I can't see anything that would stand in the way. I think every council person I've talked to is totally in support. I couldn't be more excited, more thankful, and happier. This is major. And HUD's got their eye on us, and a lot of work has gone into that, and we're looking good. Once that redevelopment plan has final approval by the city, the next task will be to develop and publish that request for proposals. We already have our development legal representative under contract, and we'll be meeting with them in January. So we're going to be off at the starting gate. We are working on the details of the contract with our consultant for future capital needs. This is a requirement of HUD that we bring on a firm to start talking about what's going to happen with our capital funds after we build the first building, after we build the second building, after we build the third building, and how we're going to use those capital funds and what we're going to do with them. So that's working out the details on that contract. You approved it last month. We continue to meet with the enterprise partners and HUD, represented by Mr. Ellis Wilson Henry. Our current goal is to expedite the submission of applications for demolition disposition to HUD. So we're working on that now, and we're going to get that up to the HUD, what they call SAC office in Chicago, because as everything else goes along, we need their approval. So we're moving on that. We're also working with them, as I've said before, on the management team. They would like to see some changes, good stuff. They're working with us. on getting ready for the future on our revisions of our Section 8 admin plan. All of those are going to have to change due to this. Our ACOP is going to have to change, and our 5-year and annual plan submitted to HUD. So these will be coming to you also over the next few months. I mentioned our Hall of Fame. We are also preparing our next newsletter, which I think January. And so if you've got anything you'd like to be bragged on in the newsletter, please feel free to get to Corinne or I. I continue to meet with residents on a personal basis. We met with at least 10 resident families since the last board meeting. And again, we encourage any resident that wishes to meet with me to personally schedule an appointment through their manager's office. We're getting people in just as fast as we can. Housing for Hoboken did not meet, and will continue regular meetings in January. We do have a good list of special capital projects with some progress. We've got that special allocation of money that came in for Harrison. Our main entrance and gate replacement at the courtyard with the goal of securing the courtyard is under design. We've been talking to the architects. We do expect to bid over the winter. Probably up the next 60 days will be bid. We should be ready for spring work on that. Our security camera installation on each floor. We have a resolution in front of you tonight to reject a bid for that. We only got one bid, and it was found deficient, unfortunately. And just as an aside, 2 bids came in late, like just late. So we expect on a rebid that we'll get 3 bids, we hope. So they've already done the work. Courtyard paving under design, and that will be ready for spring work. And the hallway and stairwell refurbishment is out to bid right now. Wind at our back, we'll have that for you in January. And then beyond that work, the following's in progress. Defensible space funding under design for behind our buildings from 208 Harrison to 400 Marshall, which will separate walking in back of those buildings, running, getting away from police, etc. And it will make kind of a backyard area in the back of each of those buildings. The emergency generator work is in process at Christopher Columbus and Adams. Pre-installation is complete. As soon as the generators arrive, supply chain, they will be put in. They're ready to be put in. Because they did the pre-installation work, they have a very small change order that's in front of you tonight. It's very small, that they incurred some extra costs. The replacement of boilers at 655 6th Street, 501 Marshall, 540 Marshall, and 320 Marshall is in process. Those are our secondary boilers. No one's losing heat, but once those are all complete, we'll have that backup. A resolution to approve the Monroe boiler replacement is in front of you tonight. We are developing a scope of work for the repaving of the Monroe Gardens parking lot. A resolution to approve the repaving at the Harrison Gardens parking lot is in front of you tonight. A resolution to award a contract for replacement of a ramp landing at Harrison Gardens is also in front of you tonight. It's falling apart and it's dangerous. We need to replace that ramp. We are developing a scope of work for sidewalk repair ponding in the area of 560 Marshall, right in front of that building to the side of the basketball court. About 3 years ago, we put in a new drain, maybe 2 years ago, that's not quite handling all the water. So we need to get back out there and deal with the ponding on that sidewalk area. A parking registration initiative is underway. We have been successful over the summer in stopping vehicles parked illegally on our streets and in reserved spots with yellow safety lines. We've cleaned a lot of that up. We do thank all the families that have registered their vehicles. You can still come in and do that. But remember, a resident must be lease compliant, including current on rent or in a repayment agreement with us if you're going to get a parking sticker. So that has actually helped us quite a bit on getting new repayment agreements, because folks have come in and wanted to get a sticker, and nope, going to have to do that repayment agreement or get even with us, so it's helped. Our current status, any vehicle that is parked in street no parking zones is subject to being towed. Any vehicle with an old red sticker, that's the old stickers, has until January 1st to have that new sticker or be subject to being towed. Any vehicle that has no sticker or is abandoned is subject to immediate towing. We have already towed a number of these vehicles, probably 10, 20 anyway? Yeah. Only the appropriate residence vehicle may be parked in a reserved spot. So we have these reserved spots. Got it? We tow them quickly. Attachment A is the management snapshot that covers both public housing and Fox Hill. Frank, you want to lead us through?
Hi, everybody. Public housing, we maintained, we're same as last month, it was 95.5. At Fox Hill, we had some apartments that were being turned over. We were at 97 by the end of November. As of right now, we should be already at 98. So overall, that helps us. That means that if you do the combine of both, we're at about 96.5, 97% as a housing authority.
And I just want to make a note that that's excellent. Thank you,
Okay.
Frank. Maintenance and management.
Jackie, she's on right now, and she just gave us a batch of fresh apartments in Harrison. So there's at least 12 apartments that are ready to go. I know our managers already have folks lined up and ready for assignments, so that should be very, very good for the end of the year. Good news for a lot of families coming up. As you can see, move-ins and move-outs. So Fox Hill had 2 move-ins. Public housing had 2 move-ins for a total of 4. Move-outs, we had 1 public housing move-out. Transfers, we did 4 transfers in total. We have 175 repayment agreements. That is a slight tick from last month. As the director was saying, we had a lot of repayment agreements. We also had a lot of repayment agreements that were canceled because folks had defaulted on those repayments. So the fact that that number went up in spite of the fact that we reduced just shows how many people did have to enter into repayment agreements to get their stickers. 699,000 is what we have right now currently in active repayment agreements. The number of families that were in our 1 month or so went up from 400 to 424. Historically, the month of November and December are a little harder on families. They hold back a little bit because of the holidays. So you should see a correction on that in January. Our total outstanding is 872,474. That continues to rise, and as we said, with the first few batches that we get to court, you will see now that changing because we continue to charge for those families that we can't collect rent on. So that'll continue to rise until we're in court. Our percentage of people who are in tenant accounts receivable went up from 36 to 38, so that went up just like the other number. Our 1 month or less is 159, over 1 month is 265. We continue to push for not just repayment agreements, but for families to come in for recertification. And I know that we're working with Matt on some language now for the new year that we're gonna send out to families because we are at that point that we have numbers that we talk about here is vacancy, but we also need a number in PIC to go up, which is they base that off of the recertifications. And it's important that families do come in and take care of that part as well.
So what hurts us there, just so you know, what hurts us with the HUD reporting is that we're knocking it out of the park nowadays on vacancies. But if families don't come in to recertify, our number goes back down because they're combined vacancies and recertifications. So we send them another letter, please come in, please come in, please come in and recertify. And so when we can't register that family as coming in for their recertification, we get dinged from HUD for it, right? So eventually, we only got one tool, and that's to take them to court because they've broken their lease. Because on the lease, they promised to come in once a year, recertify. Life is good. Most people do it, but we've got some that.
And just to touch a little bit on what the director said about HOTMA, a lot of the regulations and a lot of the things that keep people from sometimes wanting to recertify are going to be streamlined. A lot of it has to do with what's in their bank accounts, fear of income that they may have gotten a raise. And one day, maybe I think it would be good for the commissioners, if you guys wanted, we can give you guys a HAMA presentation so that you have an idea, because it's over the next year that we're going to be introducing it. I will certainly email you guys what Corinne prepared that we've been presenting to the families, but it gives you an idea. But just really over top level of that is that families get to keep more of their savings before we have to use it for the rent calculation. There's a lot of self-certification. You used to only be able to keep 5,000 in the bank, you can keep 50,000. Now if it's under 50,000, you just tell us. You're gonna have a form that you fill out. So these changes are gonna be good for encouraging families to come in and recertify, and it'll be good for their bottom line as well. It's gonna take a year to phase it in, but once everybody's ready, the tenants are ready, we're all comfortable with the changes, it'll be implemented.
Can you not recertify online? There's no way to do it electronically?
So we do have the
I don't
portal.
think there is.
Our portal is open. We could offer that. I don't necessarily know that that's what's been preventing people, but I would love to offer that to folks, and that's was the next. And thank you for bringing that up. I got good news today that we're officially they fixed the issue with the software, and tenants can go back to paying online effective right now.
Oh, good, good.
So that's.
But we will take a look at that.
But in that same portal where you pay the rent, there is an option that if we enact it, that we would be able to do recertification for you.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Thank you.
Do tenants know that they run the risk of going to court if they don't recertify?
Yes, they do.
I mean, it seems like a big risk to take.
It is.
The manager sent letters monthly about that.
And we keep shaking the spear. On housing choice vouchers, we had a great meeting this past week with the legal team, Harold, and my staff with the head of the Veterans Administration in New Jersey, and he is fully partnering with us. They have much experience in doing RFPs on VASH vouchers, on what needs to go in. He is going to help us finalize our RFP on those VASH vouchers to go out. In fact, he was very clear with us, he doesn't want that going out without our partnership, and he's right. There is much more to it. What should go in the RFP and how we should evaluate any proposals that come in order to meet the standards of the Veterans Administration as we do veteran vouchers. So we are the first housing authority in New Jersey to receive VASH vouchers.
Amazing.
We are. They've always given them only to DCA. And one of the reasons they've done that is worried about the housing authority's ability to correctly administer them. So they've got some faith in us, and we're ready to go ahead with
Am I the only one that doesn't know what that is?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Veterans vouchers.
I'm sorry. Yeah, veterans vouchers. We got an allocation of 18 special vouchers
Great.
just for veterans. But it comes with strings. Whoever gets them on a project base has to have counseling, they have to have on-site management, they have to have particular counseling programs for them. So there's a whole list of things that the Veterans Administration has to see.
Director, what's the timeline on getting the RFP completed and out?
Well, we talked with him, and we thought that we might be able to get it out around February, March.
Okay,
It's going to take that long for us to get everything together.
okay,
We're going to have a series of 2 or 3 more meetings.
okay. I appreciate it.
Yep. Maintenance, Jackie and Sammy, thank you both, continue to do an excellent job out there. We're doing a special door painting project at Adams and Monroe, and we've begun an interior stairway hallway painting project. They have made significant progress at 220 Harrison, 208 Harrison, and 510 Jackson.
It looks beautiful.
It's coming along. We're eking that out through some overtime, and when folks have time during the regular days. And from my perspective, it's starting to show that as we're past some of these issues with our roofs, some of these issues with our elevators, some of these other capital improvements, we're starting to have more staff time that we can devote to special projects. And we think one of the number one is to come in there and get those places painted and looking better.
It also makes the residents feel better.
It does. Yeah. So thank you. We'll keep working on that. Sammy takes the credit for that. He's pushing his guys. He's making it happen. Doing a good job out there. We continue to take applications for additional part-time and full-time mechanics. The mechanics is what we need. Please call your managers, residents, with any specific needs. We have started a round of meetings with the city to talk trash. We are excited about this because we are coordinating with them on how we should redo our trash pickup systems to include recycling across all of our sites. And if we get new equipment, and there's some really good new equipment on the market now, trash cans, really good rat-proof trash cans, right? As opposed to these open dumpsters that have an opening in the back where a city truck can just come take it out, up it, put it back in. Our guys may not even have to touch it. Yay. So we're actually, we just had our second meeting with them, and Sammy is doing or has done a round with the city guy.
We were supposed to do the round today, but unfortunately something came up with Dave, which is the supervisor for the city.
Yeah.
We will touch base in regards to when they walk through.
I'm sorry, Sammy, I just can't hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I just forgot. I was supposed to meet up with Dave today from the city supervisor. Unfortunately, something came up, so we're basically gonna touch base again and hopefully set something up for next week.
Sammy, please let me know if I need to make a phone call and make sure that happens.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so
And
much.
I think he's been good.
Yeah, they've been amazing.
I know they're great.
Yeah,
They've been amazing.
He really wants to
Just want to make sure we stay on top of everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To me,
Thank you so much.
that's just great. We're getting together, right? We're walking through. What can we do together? That's excellent. We continue to work on special emergency and preventative repairs. I've got attachments on the maintenance and plumbing projects by HHA staff, again, Sammy's area, and they're always going. That's always whack-a-mole. It never ends on our plumbing problems and our floods. The only way to truly solve it is redevelopment, because our systems are old and they're breaking all the time. Attachment D, major unit repairs by outside contractors. For your edification. Attachment E is an extermination report. When you get a chance, take a look at it if you have it. It's amazing how much extermination we do, how many bed bug problems we have, how many work problems we have, how many mice. So we're out there, we're working, and we know how to get rid of them, but it takes that cooperation between the resident and the housing authority. And we're now attaching a boiler report so you can see what our boiler team is working on. Finance is working on the billing for project closeout, year-end closing for the 2023 audit, housing choice voucher budgets, and VASH vouchers, and contract management and publication of RFPs and RFQs. Emil and his crew are actively involved in that. And having said that, I will pass it over to Danny to talk about our resident services snapshot.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone.
I should say, Danny is doing such a great job.
Oh, thank you.
We have been, we're doing resident meals, we're doing the extracurriculars, I mean, it's just amazing.
Let me tell you, for me, it's really easy. My partners actually help me a lot. Program providers that we have are amazing, and then we have some incredible volunteers at each of these senior buildings that help me put everything together. So I really want to recognize, the volunteers for Monroe and Adams and Fox Hill, the RAP members as well, Sandra Smith and Larry and Jeannie and all of them that help me out with these events. I'm only one resident services for the entire Hoboken Housing Authority, but I have an amazing team with Lourdes and of course the director and Sammy that always helps out with any pickups that I need and anything that I need to be able to get moved from one place to the other. So they help me out a lot, so I'm really appreciative. I'm also very thankful for our program providers who throughout the year give so much of support and commitment and love to the Hoboken Housing Authority. Thank you to the Hoboken Food Pantry and the Hoboken Public Library, who are ever present in all of our events with the DJ services. Really thankful to Community Lifestyles and Amazing True Society as well that serve our community and our kids, true mentors as well. Really, really thankful for them, for their commitment and love to our community. I don't want to leave out Ruben Ramos. He's been amazing. All of our trips, Atlantic City, and our field trips that we do with our families, he provides transportation, so I'm really thankful for that. I want to thank Michael for always being present at our Christopher Columbus. Remember, we also own Christopher Columbus. That's also our family over there. So Mike was always present at our barbecue summer events and also our Thanksgiving and Christmas celebration. And thank you for the TV that he has donated, and I haven't bought it yet. My apologies. I will get that TV, we'll get it installed.
I wish my wife was that way.
And thank you, we already have Wi-Fi at that location, and residents are excited to be able to use it a little bit more so that way they can have their movie night. So I also am thankful to Phil Coleman. As you know, we have been celebrating our holidays luncheon at Monroe and Adams. Today we finished Adams, right? Tomorrow is actually, instead of a luncheon, we're having a dinner. And the reason we're having a dinner is because Councilman Phil Cohen has sponsored a live band. So music starts at 6 p.m. So please come enjoy the dinner at 5 o'clock and then stay for the music from 6 to 8 p.m. So we're going to have a great time tomorrow. I'm really thankful for everything that we have been able to accomplish this year. I'm excited for what 2024 holds for us. And I want to invite everyone as we close the year to our Winter Wonderland, which starts at 4 p.m. on Saturday. So please join us. Let us have fun. Hugs and kisses to everyone. Much love. God bless you.
Thank you.
Can I just say one thing, guys? I just want to give a big shout out to Michael, Phil Cohen, Ruben Ramos, for really taking the time in making the holiday special for our residents. You know, they don't have to do it, but they do it. And I just wanted to say thank you for you guys, because you guys are lifelong Hobokeners, and you really care about the community. So thank you. From a BNR to other BNRs, thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Rob. So in closing for my report, again, I wish you all health, love, and clarity over the holidays and in the new year. That concludes my report.
Director, before we go on, I just had a few comments about your report.
Yes.
So I was actually at one of the resident meetings that you had with the residents, and I received the HOTMA PowerPoint that was presented, which I think is very useful as a resident. I honestly feel that it should be given to every resident, that it should be distributed. When you guys get it, you guys will understand. Corinne did an amazing job consolidating the information to where the residents will be able to understand it. Because I know that Frank mentioned that at the meeting, the book was so big, and the residents probably would have never been able to understand it. So thank you, Corinne. Thank you, Frank, for doing the presentation. My second comment was about the parking. I know that was also brought up at the meeting, and Frank made a great point. That when we sent out the letters for the parking, it was never said that the tickets that they have or the stickers that they currently have on their cars will no longer be valid. So people thought that because they had that sticker, they didn't have to go back and re-register. And it's a point, they make a point, it's valid. So I think we need to do better before next time, I guess. But I also feel that enough is enough, because now I think everybody knows that even if you have a car registered, that you need to go get a new sticker, and we should really be towing individuals. Again, the parking lots are just, I know behind my building, it's consistent more at night than during the day because they know that the staff is there, but where vehicles just go back there and park, and they don't belong in the housing authority, or they don't have stickers. So I think that once this is out, the information is out to the residents, it'll be, and the clarification that even if you have a sticker, you have to get a new one, it'll be easier. I also had several complaints this week about 501 Marshall Drive, the hanging outs, the smoking in the hallways, and so forth. I don't know if you guys were made aware of that. So I just hope that, that we work on that and try to find a solution, because it's not fair to hardworking families that are coming home, trying to get into their apartment, and they have to go through a cloud of smoke. I know I dealt with it for many years when I lived in 311 Harrison. I guess it's happening down the other end now. So if we can, tackle that, that would be great. The painting project, as I stated before, it's amazing. They're doing an amazing job. I watched those men do 220 Harrison. They worked very hard. I just ask as a resident, I know we always throw the blame at the housing authority, but I think as residents, we need to also start taking accountability. So they're painting the buildings. Let's do better at keeping it clean. You know, I witnessed in my building the same day or the next day they scuffed the wall. And it was frustrating to me and I didn't do the job. So, you know, I just want to say that the residents as well have to do better. This is where we live. We complain about how it looks. We have to do better to keep it when they're trying to make it better for us. And again, this is not the solution to all the problems that we're having, but they're trying to do better for us, so let's do better. And lastly, the trash. I know over by where I was, I barely complained about the rats, but it is getting out of control. Like literally, it's worse than it was a few months ago. So I'm glad to hear that we are working with the city to curb this problem because they just don't care. Them things are all over the place when you're coming out. And where I live all the way in the back, so it's like playing hopscotch trying to get out of there. So I know if I'm going through it, many of the other residents are, so it's good to know that we're working on it to get the issue resolved. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I have some comments on
Sure.
the director's report. Referring to the Hoboken Housing Forward update and the potential of the city council to vote on at the December 20th meeting. In the capacity of a public official of the city of Hoboken and as a Hoboken Housing Authority Commissioner, it is this commissioner's duty to present a formal recommendation to the Hoboken City Council, warning the council to reject a resolution, the ordinance B611, approval of the HHA redevelopment plan. The resolution in its current form is not in the best interest of the Public Housing Authority and its residents. As the mayor's appointee to the HHA board, it is my duty to protect the HHA, its residents, and perform oversight of a federally funded organization. It has come to the attention of this public official that the mayor, the city council, and the general public is being intentionally misled regarding that resolution to approve ordinance B611 approval of the HHA. To approve ordinance B6-11 approval of the HHA redevelopment plan. This HHA commissioner strongly recommends that the resolution be voted down and a full internal investigation commence to address allegations of conflicts of interest and the appearance of impropriety. This commissioner possesses evidence of alleged misconduct directly connected to ordinance B-611. However, the HHA board recently took the unprecedented action on November 9th, 2023 to pass resolution 2023-11.05, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to adopt a policy on public discussion of closed session deliberations. The effect of this policy is to prevent this commissioner from sharing vital information with the mayor, city council, and law enforcement. In fact, this commissioner was threatened with retaliatory action, reprimand, and possible removal from the HHA board if this commissioner shared information without the approval of the HHA board. Therefore, this commissioner is warning the Hoboken City Council not to approve the HHA redevelopment plan. Voting down ordinance B611 is the best interest of the Public Housing Authority, the City of Hoboken, and the general public. This recommendation was sent on November 13th, 2023, with the corresponding recommendation to the mayor of Hoboken that should the City Council approve the redevelopment plan, that the mayor exercised their veto authority. If this is indeed going before the City Council on December 20th, this commissioner will again recommend, make the same recommendations to the City Council and to the mayor. This idea that there is unanimity on this, I was not able to speak to the planning board, and I will be reaching out to the planning board regarding their December 12th vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanford. Does anyone have any comments, any further comments, discussion? No? I would just like to put on the record that as the chairwoman of this board, we have not passed any resolution against any specific commissioner here. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that any policies that have been created is for every single commissioner here. So I just want to make sure that that's on the record. Thank you very much. And if, yeah,
Mr.
sure.
Chair, can I ask a question to our council? It's my understanding that anything that may constitute a crime in closed session would be subject to being brought before any law enforcement or anything. We still have that ability to do that, correct?
That's correct.
There's nothing that would prohibit us. There's
That's correct.
no resolution by this body. There's no way we can kind of stop somebody from speaking when it comes to a crime. That can be reported to any law enforcement at any time, whether it's open session or closed session. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you. So without any further questions, comments, can we move to the resolution?
Yes, I'd just like to make one further comment. These recommendations were made to the City Council and to the Mayor approximately 1 month ago, and it is this Commissioner's experience that no one from the Mayor's office, no one from the City Council, and no one from law enforcement has contacted this Commissioner regarding these intercity memos of recommendation against approving the redevelopment plan.
I would just add it's probably because those recommendations are baseless.
If these recommendations were baseless, then
At least
why,
what was presented to us.
if
as
these
council.
recommendations were baseless, then why didn't the City Council approve ordinance B-611 at their November 13th meeting?
Would you like to
Council.
You want to explain it?
Ordinance, what was the ordinance that you referenced?
I made a recommendation.
Yeah, no,
And
I
the City Council.
didn't ask you about your recommendation. I
And the
asked you
City
about the
Council
ordinance. I asked you
followed
about
my
the ordinance
Wait a
that you...
second, wait a second.
One at a
Just
time,
finish
please.
it. Go
You
ahead.
asked the question, I'm trying to clarify the question.
Yes.
What was the ordinance that you referenced? Was that the plan for the redevelopment zone?
Ordinance B-611, approval of the HHA redevelopment plan.
Correct. That was approved on first reading at our last meeting,
That was approved at first reading,
because there were minor changes that had to be made.
but on the when it was put before the City Council for a second reading.
Correct. There were minor, so you understand government for a second, right? So when the city council has an ordinance, not a resolution, an ordinance before it, there's two, actually, technically there's three. There's a first reading, a second reading, and a final reading. The city is allowed to do a second and final reading together. And that's the way we kind of proceed when it comes to the procedural vote for an ordinance. Once that's passed on first reading, it then moves to a public hearing and then a second and final reading at the next meeting. When there's a change that has to happen, if there's a substantive change to that, it has to revert back to a first reading. So in the body of the ordinance, there were some changes that had to be made. So it was brought back under first reading. That was then voted for. And now the second reading and final reading will be at our next meeting on the 20th. So I hope that explains the procedure.
This item was on the agenda for a second reading on
Correct.
November 13th. I made a recommendation to the City Council, and apparently the City Council followed that recommendation.
No, absolutely not
Because
true.
they did not.
That's not
They pulled it off the resume.
Commissioner,
But they pulled it off.
you may think that your words and your recommendation had that much authority and influence. I could assure you, as one of those council members, it absolutely did not. It had nothing to do with your recommendation. It had everything to do with a change that had to occur between first reading and second reading. And once that happens, it triggers to return to first reading so that we're in compliance with the law. Had nothing to do with any recommendation from anybody, particularly about this plan.
It doesn't seem like that from where I'm sitting.
That's great.
We all have our own
Everyone has their
delusions. I understand that.
Listen,
The director's report.
I'm sorry?
no one has approached me as follow-up to any of these
But
recommendations.
Commissioner Sanford, and
Probably because no one wants to, because
Yeah, I agree. No
Because
one does want to.
your baseless accusations continue to plague not only this board, but now you're trying to plague the city council in its duty to perform.
Warning the city council is plaguing you?
You see it as a warning. Most people see it as nonsense.
Why is it nonsense? Why is it baseless?
Because it's baseless. You have no proof. You haven't presented any proof. You write a letter saying, it's my recommendation that you shouldn't do this. And you provide no one with proof of anything.
I would love to provide proof, but you guys prevented me.
That's not
Commissioner.
true, Commissioner Sanford. I
It's
want to
absolutely- Commissioner, you
reiterate
should go
that
to the
when we went
prosecutor-
into.
You should go to the prosecutor's office, you should go to the chief of police, you should go to the state police, you should go to the federal government, and you should make all those claims that you like to make. And when you sign those complaints, when you sign all of those complaints, always remember, it's a crime to falsify a complaint. Don't forget that.
It's also a crime to commit a crime,
I think
like
we all know
soliciting
this.
money from employees.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I think we could move forward. Again, as Councilman Russo and this board says, any information that you have that you feel that needs to be brought to the authorities, you are free to do so. We have never stopped you from doing so. So please, if you have that information, I think we would greatly appreciate it if you present it to law enforcement and have law enforcement contact the housing authority, the director, the commissioners, whomever they, our lawyers, whoever they need to contact, and we will move forward and transparently with the residents of the housing authority on any such accusations. So at this point, I would like to begin our
What
resolution.
you said is completely untrue.
That's-
This board and the director and members of his staff have actively prevented me from obtaining information relevant before going to a relevant authority, to law enforcement.
So you don't have any
Documents have been
evidence?
withheld.
So you
from-
just stated you have no evidence. You need to obtain the
I
evidence
did
in
not
order to
state
provide
that.
it.
I did not
Okay.
state that.
Okay,
Well,
perfect.
I do have evidence.
Okay,
You
great.
don't want to hear my evidence.
We gave you an opportunity to do that during closed session. Nothing was presented to us that should have not been in public portion, which is why tonight we have a resolution to make that closed session public. And again, there's no further discussion. I would like to move on to our resolutions. So resolution number 2023-1201, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for November 9th, 2023 regular board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Director? Paul?
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Anthony Costello,
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt. Yes. Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Michael Russo,
Yes.
James Sanford,
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1202, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to make public the portion of the October 2023 regular meeting that occurred in closed section.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns?
Yes. So at the last meeting, you proposed a resolution to restrict what we said about private sessions, closed sessions. And now you want to make public a portion of one closed session. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I can refer to Matt to explain why this is being made public. No, you asked the question and I want to, like I said, yes, this is the resolution and I
I'm
referred
listening.
to Matt
Yep.
to actually state why it should be made public.
This resolution was prepared at our recommendation that, if you recall, when we went into the board went into closed session back in October, based on the preliminary discussion upon entering closed session, we made a recommendation, which the board then agreed with, that the discussion probably did not meet one of the exceptions to enter into closed session, and it would be appropriate at that point to leave closed session and return to open session. So there was a motion, there was a second, we returned to closed session, and we proceeded. So at that point, there was nothing that was discussed in closed session, in my eyes, that constituted one of the exceptions for a closed session. And the resolutions that the authority passes to go into closed session always state that when and if it becomes appropriate to make public that portion of the transcript, the Housing Authority will do so. So the recommendation here was that the board do so. So that's why this resolution is here before you tonight.
And this is not a portion of that, this is the entire.
This is the
closed session.
entire, the portion of the meeting, which is
Correct.
the entire
I just
closed
wanted to
session.
clarify.
Yes.
Yeah, so at the last month's meeting, you created an issue by blanketly making sure that none of the commissioners could speak about closed sessions. But now you've gone back and said you want to release this one closed
Did
session.
you understand what the lawyer stated? He
Yes.
stated
Did you
that
understand
when
my
we
question?
went, yes, I did understand your question. And he stated the reason we are bringing it to the public was because the reason we went into a closed session was you stated that you had all this evidence about the director's wrongdoings. We went into public portion and you did not show or bring any evidence forward about your accusation that you made in public. So at that point, correct me if I'm wrong,
You are wrong.
any of these commissioners that were here, when we went into closed session, nothing that you stated in public was collaborated or any information was provided to anyone in this board that felt that you had any evidence. And if I'm wrong, I believe Mr. Empestado stated at that point, can we go back into public session? It was voted on and we went back into public session. So do you understand now?
And if I may, Madam
are
Chair.
wrong.
Thank you.
If I may,
I am not
Madam
wrong.
Chair.
Maybe you should read your minutes.
This resolution is completely consistent with the policy adopted last month in that the policy said that any portion of a closed session discussion that would be made public, that decision would have to be made by the authority board as a whole.
Correct. And that's what we're doing
That's
here.
why
The
this
policy
resolution is
adopted
before
last
you.
month.
Can I make a,
One at a time, please.
can I ask a question quickly? So I just want to make sure that all my colleagues on the commission here understand why and what the purpose of a closed session is. So it's my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, that it's one of those things that when we go into closed session, that time that we speak is held in confidence up until the point where it's no longer needed. For example, a contract negotiation. Once the contract is voted on, the board acts, then that closed session could become public. People could read what happened in that closed session. That happens with every closed session. Am I correct? Once there's no longer a need to keep that private, it is made public. Is that correct?
That's correct. Sometimes there is an argument and there is a position that certain negotiations will never be appropriate for them to become part of the public record.
Right, and is that
And
a common thing or is that less common?
I would say it's equally common.
Okay.
And that will be essentially the role of the authority in the future to consider closed sessions and whether or not it's appropriate to make them public.
Right.
And this one, I think it's quite clear that there was nothing discussed in closed session that should not be made.
So the appropriate action would then make it public so that other people could hear what happened in that closed session.
Correct.
I just want to make sure
Thank you.
that I understand it correctly and that my colleagues here understand that correctly.
The resolution that was approved at the last meeting was the first of its kind. It does not exist anywhere in the state of New Jersey at any other housing authority.
And that's fine,
This
but we
housing
have the
authority
ability to make
created
those
the
policies.
problem so that it could manipulate the public record.
That's your opinion of it. But as a board, we have the right to make new policies. If we feel that it's gonna make this board work more effectively, we have the right. And if we are able to all together make these, we would hope that you would be on our side, but most of the time you vote no. So again, like I stated before, I'm sorry you feel that way about the last resolution.
I do not feel that
No,
way.
you do.
I think that way.
Exactly, that's your thoughts. Your thoughts, same
This
thing.
is a blatant attempt to manipulate what information is part of the public record and what information is not part of the public record.
It's not, and we are taking, we are making sure that everything we do is within our legal rights. We have been, we actually, again, this was at the recommendation of our lawyers, and we felt, or I felt as chairwoman, that it was something that we should actually make a resolution to make it public. As a resident, I think it's always important for us to be transparent. And I think at that meeting, when we went into closed session, it left the residents with a thought that there was some wrongdoing. And the fact of the matter is that no evidence and no information was provided to this board to actually back up what Mr. Sanford said during that meeting. So thank you very much.
So this is the problem with your position, because by concealing what has gone on in other closed sessions, I cannot share that wrongdoing. Why not amend this resolution to allow for all closed sessions for the past 12 months to be open to the public?
Wait.
Okay.
I got a question.
Listen, I'm not going back and forth with you on this any further.
Then
I
you
think
can
we
stop
have,
and I'll keep
I think we have discussed it enough. I'm sorry that you felt that way. The same way you feel about this resolution, I feel about every resolution that you vote no for that benefits our residents. And that's my opinion. But I don't sit here and take up everybody's time for an hour to go over it with you. So maybe when you change your mind, maybe we all will change our mind. Again, at this point, there's no further discussion. Director, if there's a motion and a second, can we move
Yes.
forward with the
Motion.
We
Wait.
did it already.
Thank you.
I would like to.
Director?
I would like to make a motion to amend this resolution to open the closed sessions for the past 12 months.
There's a motion on the floor, am I correct, that states that we can move forward with this. Director, can you please call?
So the commissioner has made a motion, be appropriate.
Right.
See if there's a
Second. Is there a second to that motion?
There's not a second. Can we move forward with the first motion?
So there is a motion on the floor to adopt this resolution as is.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato,
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt. Yes. Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
Yes.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1203, resolution authorizing the payment of monthly list of bills for the Hoboken Housing Authority.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Any
I have a
discussion,
couple-
questions? Sorry. Andrew.
Chairman, yeah, I have a question. For the monthly maintenance expenses, we did some mold inspection. Do we get any results back for that? Was there mold?
On this particular one, we do them on a regular basis. Do you know, Sammy, is this just one or all?
Just one. I mean, if
I'm trying to look up which unit it was.
Sammy may know.
we did,
It was in November. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
I think it was 310 Marshall Drive, if I'm correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds right.
310 Marshall Drive, apartment 4 Apple. The results came back negative.
Negative.
Everything was clear.
That's always good.
It was good.
Has there been inspections done where mold has been found in 2023?
I think we had one, didn't we?
One unit.
We had one, and we moved it immediately.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome.
So,
Immediately.
Director, when you say that you moved them immediately, that's because those tests came back positive?
Correct.
Correct. So when you're going, and I just want to know for the residents' perception, because I know we're live tonight, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people listening. So if you state to your manager or even maintenance, I have mold in my apartment, and they go in and they test it, and it comes back negative, then what they do is they move forward with the cleaning of it and making sure, correct, and removing it?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, what we've been doing normally, if there is mold in the unit, we immediately move the family, so there's no question. We don't want any question on mold. And it happens so rarely. Now, some units do have some mildew, some of that can be easily taken care of, and that's easily taken care of.
Okay.
If a unit has issues that there's a lot of water behind the walls, we take a look at it and we say, we just can't remediate this. This is something that's, we've got some pipes from we don't know where that are leaking, that are gonna keep that unit wet. Let's move you right away. So that's what we do.
So any resident listening or watching, if they think they have mold in their unit, what's the next step for them?
Contact your manager, our manager and our maintenance goes out right away, takes a look at the unit.
Cool.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Can we please minimize the conversations and the... area?
My next comment is under monthly, it's the Rosarios at Willow, Thanksgiving luncheons. What I've noticed, and I got a request from a couple of restaurants in Hoboken, but I do notice that the same restaurants keep popping up on some of these list of bills. And I think it's a good stance for our housing authority, if we want our entire community and to like embrace us, to maybe reach out to different restaurants to give business to. I don't know if that's, nothing against Rosario's, nothing against some of these other ones that are on here, that are always on here. But for example, there is a restaurant that gives out free turkeys on Thanksgiving to a lot of our residents. And I don't ever see them on this list of bills. So, you know,
That's Mario's, that's Mario's.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention the name, but,
Give them a plug.
Come on, you have to, let's show them love.
Yeah, so that's, you know, I know it's a very easy process, we just go back to the same, we submit the same order, but if I think it's Daniel heads up that operation.
We'd be glad to.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, if we can.
Please share with me a list of businesses, I'll be happy to work with them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of businesses mentioned to me that they'd be willing to work with us and give us deals.
Yeah.
No, the reason I keep going back to these, La Casa and Rosario is because they have been great in terms of the services that have been provided.
I'm sure.
Easy to work with. I am happy to work with many other businesses, in the city of Hoboken. So please share with me any businesses out there. Please reach out to our main office. Be happy to work with them. When it comes to many of our activities and programs.
Cool. Thank you. That's all I got. Thank you, Chair.
If you need any assistance in that area in terms of getting different restaurants to help and sponsor, I have a connection list that goes for days that provide food for us at the shelter whenever we need it. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, so definitely reach out. Definitely reach out then, because we can spread the love throughout the city.
Thank you. Will do.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Anything else, Andrew?
No, that's it, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, so any further questions?
I have a question on the list of bills. Do I direct this to the director, or can I talk to Emma?
I think you should just say publicly, and whoever the director thinks, if the director can answer it, you'll answer it. If
So,
not,
item 3 of the capital fund on page 2 of the list of bills is William J. Garini, boiler replacement at AJG Payment Act number 2, $179,100. When did we start using Mr. Garini, and what services do they provide?
We started to use them when they won the bid for this job.
Okay, and when was that? What was the
I don't know.
resolution?
We'd have to take a look. I don't have that.
It was around about February of 2023.
February.
It's not an exact date, I'm trying to pull it up right now. We entered into a contract with William J. Green, in January of 2023. So I would imagine, and I could go back through my records, but I believe this board approved that contract at the January board meeting.
thank you, Emma.
So possibly the January board meeting, or definitely the January board meeting?
I would have to pull up that packet. It could have been the December board meeting, but it was without a doubt prior to that, and not by much.
So this vendor was taken action through a resolution?
Yes, that is correct.
So
that's certain.
Was there a analysis performed by the procurement committee?
By the
procurement committee?
No, because it was a sealed bid.
So it was a sealed bid?
Yeah, the resolution number was 2023 1.05. So it was adopted by this board on January 12th, 2023.
So could you just repeat that resolution number?
Yes, it's 2023-01.05. Resolution to award a contract for Andrew Jackson Gardens boiler replacement.
Okay. And is this vendor only performing services at Andrew Jackson, or have there been other resolutions for this vendor or other sealed bids to provide services at different locations?
Yeah, but this vendor has won other contracts. There was a contract in the past to replace 15 boilers. I believe that was all through Andrew Jackson. This vendor did a sewer line replacement at Adams Gardens.
So 15 boilers and a sewer line replacement.
Yep.
And were these all sealed bids?
Yes.
Can you remind me, and maybe the public, how does a sealed bid work?
I can give you a brief synopsis, and if I'm not speaking correctly, please counsel correct me. But we identify the needs of the authority. We work with our engineering firm to develop specifications. We put together an invitation to bid. We go out for a minimum of 20 days. We accept bids. If the bids are responsive and responsible, we present it to the board for award.
After a legal review.
Yes, after legal review.
So legal presumably reviewed these sealed bids. Is that correct, Matt?
I would have to double check, but
Okay.
I assume, Emil,
Yes.
that we reviewed them and provided an opinion.
That's standard operating procedure for us.
Okay. So counsel, can you help me to understand what it occurs during a review by council of a sealed bid?
Sure. Traditionally, what the authority will do is they will provide us with the apparent low bid and ask us to review it to make sure it is responsive to the invitation to bid. So what that will entail is we will take the bid package, the invitation to bid, and there are certain mandatory items that need to be provided with every bid, that if they are not provided, there's automatically a rejection. Coincidentally, you have something along those lines before you tonight for a rejection because something mandatory was missing. And then there are certain things that are curable defects, where if the housing authority didn't require them at the time of bid, can be provided after the time of bid, but prior to the time of award. And very rarely will there be something that the authority hasn't reviewed where the authority will make an award conditioned upon receipt and approval by the authority of that missing item. And that is usually something, a HUD standard form essentially, that isn't provided. The housing authority will require that it's provided, the authority reviews it, and the authority approves it.
So you receive the lowest bid or all of the bids?
Typically, we're provided with the low bid.
The low bid, so just one of the respondents?
The apparent low bid,
The
yes,
apparent.
correct.
Okay. And after receiving, so who provides that? Is that the director?
It's typically Emil.
Emil, okay. And when you review that apparent low bid, are you just reviewing the bid packet where that's responsive to the bid, or are there any other due diligence acts that you perform on the vendor?
Typically, the majority of our review is to review the bid itself to make sure that it complies with all the requirements of the invitation to bid and the bid package, and then we perform a check of the state's debarment system to confirm that the apparent low bidder is not listed, is not debarred by the state of New Jersey.
Can you explain that first part again? So you said you check the debarment system, but you also do what first?
So we will review the bid to make sure it complies with the invitation to bid and the bid package. In every bid package, there's a bid submission checklist. As I said, there are certain items that are required by the state of New Jersey, so that's always the first thing we do. If any of those items is not required or is not provided, we'll go back to the authority and say, this is not provided. For that reason, you have to reject the low bid. It does happen occasionally, not very often. And then after that, I will usually review the other non-mandatory items to make sure that they are received and approved by the authority prior to execution of the contract.
So for my edification and also the public, how does the sealed bid process that you just described differ from the activities of the procurement committee?
I mean, typically, I think what you're getting at is how does it compare to the RFP process? And in that case, there are certain procurement items that are required to be bid, and then there are certain things, for example, professional services. You have some of those before you tonight, your fee accountant, your risk management, your general engineering firm, which do not have to be bid. They are subject to a different process, the RFP process, where the proposers submit proposals, and there are evaluation criteria. In the case of a sealed bid, there is no evaluation criteria. If the bid is responsible and responsive, then you must take the low bid.
So a sealed bid has no evaluation criteria?
Correct.
All right. And there is no RFP process associated with the sealed bid?
Correct.
Okay. So can you help me to understand why a $179,000 line item was not subject to the RFP process? Is that
Because it's subject to a more rigorous process, which is the public sealed bid process.
So the sealed bid is more rigorous, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. So within that more rigorous process, what evaluation was done on the political contributions of this particular vendor?
I would have to look at that procurement to refresh my recollection.
Because
typically,
please go ahead.
Typically, our office will confirm that the political contribution disclosure was submitted, and we'll review to see if there's anything that at first glance appears significantly out of line, which based on the fact that we provided an opinion in this case, I can tell you that there was nothing that appeared significantly out of line.
Understood. So the reason I ask is that when I was on the procurement committee and we did do RFP processes, there was, exactly as you mentioned, a disclosure of political contributions that went with certain vendors. And I would like to request the political disclosures for this particular vendor for this item that appears on the current list of bills and the other contracts mentioned by Emil for the other sealed bids.
That request would appropriately be made to the contracting officer of the authority, which is the executive director.
Okay. Executive Director Recco, what is the best way to make this request of you in a timely and efficient manner?
I would suggest that you write me an email and that you don't put a 4-hour response, mandatory 4-hour response on it. Because if you write me an email at noon and say you need a response by 5, and I'm in meetings, I cannot do that. Like your recent one, it's impossible. And then if you write me something at 6 saying that I'm a terrible person because I didn't respond by 5, and excuse me, let me finish. That I'm irresponsible and that I don't know what other words you used at the last one, but it's impossible. You need to give a reasonable amount of time. You give me that response, simply in that response, you don't have to be pontificating about everything else you've done in the world. Give me that response for these and I'll respond to you in a reasonable amount of time. But again, 4 hours on a Friday or a Thursday is not a reasonable amount of time, sir. And for you to be saying that you demand a response in 4 hours is not reasonable. So give me something reasonable and I'll be glad to respond to you.
So what is reasonable?
Oh, give a week. Give a week, give a few days, give something, at least something that we can do, because I'll have to get, we've got to pull out records, sir. We've got to take a look at the past resolutions. We've got to pull out the old specification packages. So again, you've got to be understanding that we work on housing every day. We house people, we work on emergencies, we have people that need mold mitigation, we have leaks. We have busy life. We just don't sit and wait for your email, sir. And we've got, if you want to take a look at my calendar, I'll be glad to show it to you. I've got meetings stacked up almost
Not
every day.
necessary.
And sir, you must be reasonable. I think even Oprah gives a couple weeks on a response.
Correct.
Or 7 days. So
7
again,
days, right?
don't try to split hairs. Give me a reasonable
I'm
time.
trying to understand what you think is.
Okay,
Wait,
so let me say it clear. 1 week is
You're speaking a
reasonable.
lot.
1 week is reasonable. Thank
1
you.
week is reasonable. Now,
Yes.
here is a problem that I see with a 1 week turnaround time. This list of bills. This list of bills was not given to me a week ago. And if I wanted to get the information that I requested from council, council has then directed me to you at the meeting, then I
You can
can't get
use
this
the Oprah.
information before the vote.
Well, then you're gonna have to ask earlier.
Can I make a,
Because
maybe
right
maybe
now,
make a
you can-
suggestion to kind of?
And let me finish.
Yep.
Right now, you know you want this information. So if you give me the request next week, I'll have it for you, long before the board meeting. Now, again, you must understand, it's the holiday season, right? I mean, we've got much going on. I'm on vacation the week of Christmas, so be reasonable, please. Understand.
I am being
What we've, that's good, be reasonable.
Is it possible that we, seeing that you have such an issue with that one line item, is it possible if we take off that line item until we,
Then
or
we
does
wouldn't
that,
pay a
vendor,
contractor
does
has
that vendor
done
need to
good
be
work
paid?
for us.
Yeah.
And this is a partial payment to that contractor.
Understood.
And no, it would not
I'm
be.
Okay, so, can we move forward?
Well, we haven't really resolved anything here.
Well, we did resolve. You said you wanted the documentation. The director stated to put it in an email, give him a week's time, and he will get you the information. Anything further?
Well, I would then suggest, I would make a motion to take this line item from the list of bills.
The motion is on the floor. Would anyone like to second it?
Well, I mean, can you just, you said that can't happen because he did the work, he needs to get paid, and he can't wait a month.
We have a contractual obligation with this company that you approved, that we have the engineering approval on this. We've gone down the line, they've put it in, they've waited because we do an extensive approval process.
Sure.
We check their payrolls, we check everything. By the time it gets here, the staff has vetted it. So I would like my staff to have some, myself and my staff to have some respect that this is a valid payment. And because somebody has made up something about maybe they made a political contribution, I don't understand what the problem is. But it's not fair to the contractor to have to float this for that amount of time when he's got to pay his guys, he's got to do all that. And because there's some vague allegation somewhere that we hold a payment.
What allegation?
Well, why would you want to hold the payment?
I didn't say I wanted to.
Okay, good.
You
good.
just
So let's
asked for
vote on
us to remove
Yeah,
it.
so
So
let's
is there a second on the floor?
You're putting words in my mouth. I asked for
Okay,
this
there's not a
information.
second on the
I asked for
floor.
this information.
So could we move forward? Is there a motion to move forward with the list of
Well,
bills?
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, we had it.
So
I
there's a
just-
motion and second on the
I just want to clarify that if I give you an email in writing tomorrow, Director, that the information that Emil possesses, I will receive it in approximately 1 week's time.
Yeah, approximately 1 week's time. Yeah,
Thank you, Director. So can we call the vote, Director?
we sure can. Anthony Forbes.
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt.
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1204, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for Harrison Garden lot improvement.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, call the roll.
Anthony Forbes.
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt.
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1205, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for Harrison Gardens ramp landing replacement.
Motion. Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1206, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for Monroe Gardens boiler replacement.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1207, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to reject all bids for Harrison Gardens physical security enhancements.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director?
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1208, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to extend the contract for fiscal audit services.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Call the vote, Director.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1209, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to extend the contract for maintenance and service of fire protection systems.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2020, okay, I think there's a typo on that. It says 2022, so if we can just make sure that's corrected. Resolution number 230710, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to increase the amount of the contract for replacement of emergency generators at various locations.
If I could, Madam Chair, before there's a motion in a second, it would be 2023-12.10.
Oh, sure.
Motion on 12.
Second.
My apologies, guys.
Second.
Questions, concerns?
Could either Emil or council explain this resolution?
Or Director, do you have?
Well, I mean, I can talk about the work that they were doing, like I said in my director's report. They're doing the upfront work on the installation of these generators, which is doing all the underground electrical work, the setting up the pads, making sure everything's there, because there's a delay in actually getting the generators because of the supply chain. So we're waiting for delivery of the generators, or hopefully in the next couple of months. But while they were doing that prep work, they had a small increase that they needed. Again, to increase that work, it was, what, $3,347. So, or increased the contract by $4,404, I'm sorry. So there's a very small increase in their contract.
And this vendor in question is Land Associates?
That is our
Architectural and
That's the
engineering.
architectural engineering, thank you. The contract is Manor Electric Inc.
Manor 2 Electric.
Manor to Electric. Okay. And how is this contractor selected?
By a sealed bid. The first paragraph of the resolution reads that this contract was awarded in July of 2022.
July 2022. From a sealed bid.
Correct.
So the resolution number, is that actually correct? Because it goes back to 2022, not 2023?
Yes, it is correct. We've
correct.
had really substantial lead time on these generators. These generators, once this contract was awarded, the generators were awarded and they're in transit right now.
So this is again a sealed bid.
Correct.
So council, presumably your firm would have done the review on the sealed bid.
I don't have that specific
I understand.
information
So
in front of
you're
me, but
right.
presumably, yes.
Okay.
Since it was approved by this board previously.
Okay. So for the same reasons as I mentioned with the other sealed bid, I would like to just put everybody on notice that I would like to request the political donation contribution sheet for this vendor. So I
Put it in your note.
will include it in my.
Great, great.
Okay.
Just a quick question on that. Is that not done? Is the political contribution not done?
The political contribution form was presumably provided, filled out, signed, provided by the bidder at the time of bid.
At the time of the bid?
So that would have been back in July 2022.
Got it.
And what you have before you here is not the award of significant contract. That was already done by this board. What you have here is a very minor increase, less than 1% of the contract price, and as it states in the resolution, up to 20% of the contract price is permissible in change orders.
So if any-
it's very minor by comparison.
If any political contribution came after that point, then it wouldn't matter.
That would not have been reviewed, right? What the authority has in its records and what is required is the political contribution at the time of submission of the bid.
Got it, thank you.
If I'm understanding some of the documents here, you've got an electrical foreman, an electrical journeyman, and these are at hourly rates. Are these union employees?
We wouldn't know that.
Okay. Would the council, would you have any?
I don't have any insight into that for you, Commissioner.
It's not a requirement for them to clear that.
Any further questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Director, can you please call the roll?
Anthony Forbes,
Rev?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-1211, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for fee accounting
Motion.
services.
Second?
Questions, concerns? Director Cole?
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2022-1212.
2023.
I'm sorry?
2023.
2023.
Sorry.
Are the numbers right here? Somebody keeping track of that back there?
I'm
Come on,
sorry,
Harold.
I'm reading what was given to me. So, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for risk management services.
Motion.
Second?
Questions, concerns? Director Colo?
I have a question. So Brown and Brown Metro LLC, who are these
I'm
people?
sorry, what was it?
Brown and Brown Metro LLC, who are these people?
They are an insurance company that acts as our representative to purchase insurance. They are our current company for risk management. They not only advise us on insurance, but they also do training for staff and meet with us on a regular basis.
And since they are current, when did we start using them?
So 2 years ago, I think they've been with us now? 2 years.
We're completing our third year. They started in January of
Third
10
year. Thank you, Emma.
That sounds about right.
Time flies.
Okay. Then, was this a RFP process or was this a sealed bid?
It's an RFP process.
Okay. So I would like to add this vendor to the list of other vendors where I would like to see their political contribution disclosures.
Okay, thank you. Director Caldwell?
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford,
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-12-13, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contracts for general engineering services.
Motion.
Award one.
Second.
I would like to say something on
Sure,
this,
absolutely.
on this resolution and the next two resolutions, is that we went out for an RFP for general engineering services, and we got 3 replies, 3 proposals, and we liked all 3 of them as we ranked them. And I am firmly in favor of awarding to all 3 of them. That gives me a tool in my tool belt. I can do a job order to this engineering firm, and then if I've got them busy, I can, if another job comes up, I can give to this engineering firm and get a job proposal from them. 2 of the 3 we worked with quite a bit before. We worked with Lan and Clark Hayton quite a bit before. We've never worked with the 3rd one. 8Gem2, I believe they're called, and they look good. They've done a lot of housing authority work. They've worked around the state quite a bit, and they check out, and I would love to have the opportunity to maybe give them a job, check them out, see how they work for us. So I'd like, for this one and the next 2, that's kind of the story on those 3.
And if I may, Director, we weren't directly involved in the evaluation process or anything along those lines, but I will point out that in the RFP for this job, the authority does reserve the right to award to more than one proposer. And in fact, as the director stated, the authority has worked with 2 of these firms in the past, and for the last, I don't know, at least 2 years, you have awarded 2 contracts to 2 proposers under the same RFP process.
Are any of these minority-owned or female-owned?
No.
That was on the evaluation sheet. Okay, call the vote, Director.
So, Anthony Forbes?
Before I vote, Director, I just want to say, great idea. Thanks for thinking out of the box. I think that's an awesome idea. It's reward a little bit to all of them.
It's going to be very helpful.
So yes.
Thank you, Rick. Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-12-14, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contracts for general engineering services, Award 2.
Motion.
Second. Excuse me.
I think we went over the discussion. Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes?
Rev.
Yes.
Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-12.15, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contracts for general engineering services, Award 3.
Motion.
Second.
Director, call the vote.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Andrew Impastato?
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes? Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-11-16. A resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to censure Commissioner James Sanford for violation of the authority policy on statements made by the individual commissioners. Whereas by resolution number 2022-1108, adopted on November 10, 2022, the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken, the authority, adopted the authority policy on statements made by individual commissioners, the policy, and whereas the policy made it clear that a statement made by any individual commissioner which could imply that it was made on behalf of the authority, require disclaimer if the statement refers to the persons making a statement as a commissioner of the authority. And whereas the policy was established to prevent liability of the authority for any inappropriate statement made by an individual commissioner using that title in the statement, and whereas the need for the adoption of the policy was based upon facts and circumstances which developed before the adoption of the policy, and whereas Commissioner James Sanford made statements in the context of the November 2023 municipal election delivered to candidates on the ballot in that election and others which were signed as James Sanford HHA Commissioner, and whereas in 2023 statement was extremely similar to one made by Sanford before the 2022 municipal election, which contributed to the establishment of the policy. And whereas the 2023 statement did not include the disclaimer established by the policy despite significant reference to procedures involving the authority which Sanford requested candidates agree to, appearing to establish them as authority procedures. And whereas Sanford was present at the authority meeting when the policy was adopted, participated in the discussion of it prior to adoption, and voted to abstain on the resolution when it was adopted by 5 other commissioners, with 1 being absent. And whereas there have already been complaints from the public about the policy violation and the discussion of potential liability on part of the authority to recipients of the 2023 Sanford statement. And whereas the purpose of the adoption of the policy was aimed by avoiding precisely the situation created by Sanford in issuing his 2023 statement without the needed disclaimer. So, yes. So resolution number 2023-11-16, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to censure Commissioner James Sanford for violation of the authority policy on statements made by individual commissioners.
Motion.
Listen,
Second.
there's a discussion, right?
No, they're putting a motion in a second.
Second.
Now there's a discussion.
So, this
Before,
allegation,
okay,
who is making this allegation?
okay, first and foremost, I believe you were not here at the beginning of the meeting where there was a statement that was submitted and it was read into the public portion. Every commissioner here received a copy of it. I'm not sure if you received a copy. I believe it's right in front of you. It was read into the record.
Who read it into the record?
The director as the secretary of the board.
I see. And so, is your answer to my question that Councilman-elect Presenzano is the person making this allegation that I have allegedly violated the
I believe there
so-called
was more
policy?
than one allegation. Am I right? Right about? There was more than one complaint received. There was various complaints received. Councilman-elect was the one that actually sent us a statement to read into the record.
So, why were none of these complaints brought to my attention?
I believe that you're an adult, you knew the policy, you knew what you were doing. You received this packet last Friday. It was brought to your attention. If you had questions or concerns, you could have felt free to contact me or the director at that time.
You're an adult. I asked the question. Answer the question.
And I answered it.
You did not answer the question.
I did answer it. I'm
These were
sorry
not-
it's not
these
to what you would
allegations
like.
Have not been brought to
The
my
same
attention.
allegations that you make against this board and the director on a monthly basis.
Who met to consider these allegations? What kangaroo court got together to make this resolution?
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and
Of
allow
course
you
you're not.
to speak to
Because
me
it's
in that
completely
manner. Because for the most part, I try to be as respectful as
No, you're
possible
not
as I
respectful
can.
at all.
I do, I try. I
don't
try.
try.
You really know how to push my buttons, I'll be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna let you speak to me in that manner, so I refuse to answer your question.
You refuse to answer my
Councilman?
question. Council,
And
who
my
met
apologies.
to discuss this resolution to come to this insane conclusion?
If I may, before anyone answers the question, there is no court, there is no discussion, there is no decision until this discussion happens and a vote is taken. You, sir, are part of what you called a kangaroo court. You sit here, you participate in this discussion, and depending on how this vote goes, whether it's in the affirmative or in the negative, that will be the decision as to if this resolution stands or it does not. No one met before this. No one had discussions before this. There was no kangaroo court. This is the process in which a commission functions.
Wait a second.
Let me finish.
Wait a second.
A resolution is brought forward, and either the majority of the board agrees with that, or they disagree with that. And prior to that decision, there is discussion amongst the board, which is happening now, which you kicked off to ask a question. So I don't think there's any predetermination as to what's going on. I think what you're anticipating a potential vote, but no decisions have been made. We're here to talk about it and then vote on it. So there is no other kangaroo court, as you put it.
So, that is completely false, because the wording of this resolution is completely pejorative with the presumption that this alleged policy has been violated. Nowhere in the resolution does it state allegedly.
Well,
Who wrote this resolution and came to the conclusion, predetermined, that I supposedly violated this alleged policy? Who wrote it? Who prepared it? Council? Anybody?
the council, am I correct in saying that the council was the one who prepared it? And it was prepared because of accusation.
Madam Chair, this is Harold Fitzpatrick. Can I address the question?
Absolutely, Harold.
I got the complaints, Commissioner. I got them directly from individuals who were candidates in the election. 4 of them. And I got them in confidence. And I actually got one that indicated that we may have liability for what transpired because of the injury that it may have done to one of the candidates. You heard one of them in public. If you were at the meeting at the beginning, I gather you weren't, but you now have a copy of it.
I've read
There
it.
are 3 more.
There is
I didn't
no...
ask you if you read it. I asked if you heard it. There are 3 more.
Listen, Harold,
This is a
can you
severe-
try to be at least a little objective instead of being combative?
I am being objective. What you did is a complete, utter violation of the policy. You know that? You actually put out a mistaken version the first time you put it out in 2023 with the old council, with the old candidates for school board. And you corrected it. And you knew very well what the policy was. And I'm very concerned on behalf of the authority because these complainants have indicated that we may have liability for what you did, which is exactly the reason why we adopted this policy.
All right, this
And it would have
alleged...
been simple. I'm not finished yet, Commissioner. And it would have been simple for you to state the disclaimer. You could have made the statements anyway, as long as you put the disclaimer in. But you blatantly ignored the policy, put the same thing out that you did last year, and expected that no one would complain about it. And then you talk about alleged and kangaroo court and all these statements that are nowhere near the reality of what I've had to deal with in the last month with people coming to me wanting to take action against the authority for what you did. So yes, I very much wrote this resolution, and I very much stand as responsible for it. And I am advising the commissioners, the entire 7 commissioners of the Board of the Authority, that this resolution is totally appropriate, and it would be negligent on their part not to adopt it, given the blatant violation that you committed.
Pretty clear.
Thank you, Harold.
Harold, are you done? Are you done,
I'm
Harold?
done until you come back and ask some additional question or make some statement that I may not agree with.
Okay. So you're taking responsibility for this resolution. Is that what you're saying?
I drafted it.
You drafted it.
Absolutely, I just said that.
All right. Now, without disclosing the alleged identities of these accusers, you are claiming that there is a possibility of liability. Does that include litigation?
I'm not claiming it. I'm telling you what the people who made the complaints told me in confidence and requested that I keep it confidential.
Okay. So, is there an actual threat of litigation?
I just told you that.
No, you didn't tell me that. You said that they're claiming liability. Is there an actual threat of
I
litigation?
also told you earlier that one of them spoke specifically about whether or not the injury to them might be actionable.
And what injury is that? What is this alleged
I
injury?
don't know. I don't even know who these people are in general.
Well,
I just know what I got. I got unsolicited emails. Somebody found my email address, the one for the Housing Authority, and sent me this. It was serious enough for them to do that.
So these politicians running for elected office had an issue with my protected political free speech, is what you're saying?
Absolutely not. They had no problem with what you said. They had a problem with the fact that you didn't disclaim that you were involved with this only on your part and not the Housing Authority's part.
Well,
and if you read the statement that was made earlier in the meeting, you can see that people are concerned that it is the Housing Authority.
well, let's talk about that.
Here.
Let's talk about that. What is this alleged statement that everybody is referring to? Because if there's going to be this allegation, well, what is this thing?
You know darn well what it is. You put it out. I have a copy of what you put out.
Please.
I actually got them from several people.
For the record.
Don't ask me what it is. You put it out. You know what it is.
What did you send out, Commissioner Sanford?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know what
You don't know
these
which one you
nameless
sent out?
these nameless politicians.
You know darn
These
well
nameless
what
politicians.
Wait, court reporter.
These nameless politicians are making an accusation.
You put the list out. You named the politicians.
Oh, I don't
You
know.
had them in your distribution.
I don't know who
Don't tell me
contacted
what
you.
it says. You're being
Counsel.
disingenuous and misrepresenting. You know what the statement was. You sent it out.
No, I do not
Where
know.
do you think these people got
This
it
is
from?
this is a attempted censure of this commissioner. I'm here to defend myself, and you can't even bring forward the accuser. That's not a U.S. court. That's not how a
This is
legal
not
system
court.
I
works.
can't. I said that I'm not. On behalf of the Housing Authority, I believe that it would be inappropriate to disclose the identity of these individuals. You've got the name of one of them.
Okay,
It's in
I'm
that
not
thing.
asking for identities.
There are
I'm asking
three
for the
more.
document that they're referring to. What is this document that they're referring
You're not
to?
asking. You're asking me for your own document. Another
You know what you
example of
said to
being
the
silly,
politician?
Commissioner.
Counsel.
This is absurd.
What is the document
know.
what is the document that these nameless politicians are referring to? Can you give me a title? Did they give you the text?
You texted?
Yes.
They gave you the text.
Yes,
Okay.
they gave me the text.
Could you read the first line of that text into the record?
Let me get it in front of me, Commissioner. I think you're engaging in more nonsense, but I will do that, but I'm not going to keep doing this.
Counsel, I asked you to be objective. So I would ask you not to
I am
characterize
being
me
objective. You're the
as...
one that's being silly. I'm not
I'm
being
defending
anything
myself.
other than highly objective.
Unless there's somebody else
The
here
the first
who's going to be
line-
my advocate.
The first line reads, 2023 Election Integrity Pledge. That's the first line.
Okay.
You want me to keep going?
And what's the next line?
You want me to read your email into the record?
Yes, please.
Do me a favor, you got your phone with you?
No.
He has it in front of him.
You do it.
He chooses
You are
not
the
to.
accusers.
This is, no, we're
I
not
am the
accusing
defense.
anyone. This information was brought to us, and as such, we decide, well.
Matt, why are you laughing?
Read it.
Yes, Matt, why are you laughing?
Because it's absurd! That's why he's laughing!
There's other things to do for the residents than this.
Do you think that I am treating this as an absurd matter? Because if it is absurd, then
You,
motion
sir,
to
It's
table.
no,
you,
it's
sir, are quite absurd.
Am I?
Yes.
Interesting. That's fascinating coming
What-
from a man who declared bankruptcy.
Oh,
That's not called for.
exactly, that's
That's not
inappropriate.
That's
That's
low?
inappropriate.
That's not.
It's inappropriate.
Commissioner,
Let's go.
you want me to keep reading?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You think this is a joke?
I think you're a joke. I put it on the record
Good.
multiple times.
Good. I'm glad that you think I'm a joke. I'm glad that you underestimate me.
Is that a threat?
That is absolutely-
You listed 19 people. 19 people on this. You know what you
Please
did.
read
I
the
think
first.
you have it right.
Yeah, I
You
do.
have it right in front of you.
I do have a document that I wrote, but I don't know what these people who are
It
making
was
an
the
allegation are
email that
referring
you
to.
sent on.
So
to-
council, you
Absolutely
council
insane.
received the allegations.
Mhm.
Now, to present any kind of credible allegation, they must have been referring to something. What is it they
Commissioner,
were
may I
referring
see
to?
the piece of paper that you have right in front of you?
No, you may not.
How is that, how
So
is that?
let the record show that Commissioner Stanford is not being transparent to the residents as he expects the rest of the commissioners to be.
Are accusing me of.
Can we just call the vote, Director? This is absolute
No, we're not calling
nonsense.
the vote.
Okay, you don't have to call the vote. I'm asking the Director to call the vote. Is there any commissioner here? Can we have we have the motion, correct?
Yes. and-
Council, what is the relevance of the Conscientious Employer Protection Act, the Whistleblower Act, in reference to this retaliatory act of censure against this commission?
Can we call the vote?
Council, there is a
You're not
question.
an employee of the authority. I've informed you.
If you're getting paid, there's a problem, because neither one of us here, anyone here, is getting paid.
We have bigger issues.
That is
if
not,
everybody's getting paid.
that is not correct, council. You are making an accusation, and I have not been noticed. And this is an adverse action that you, as council, are asking the authority to take. And further, I sent you an email directly asking what resolutions were going to be appearing at this meeting. And you refused to give me any kind of heads up that this attack, this censure, was being considered.
I'm sorry.
How is that ethical,
You got this
council?
resolution, Commissioner, the same time that everybody else did. It's not my obligation to give you a heads up. I have the obligation to the authority, not to you. And I will tell you that I've told you all along, you're not an employee of the authority. You're not subject to that law. You're not protected by that law. But you've just ignored me.
And you received.
Thank you, Director.
Received this agenda
Thank you,
last
Harold.
Friday.
Just pull the vote.
Then
Last-
Can we
No, I'm not calling
further?
the vote. I'm here to defend myself.
I am saying, Director, can you please call the vote?
Anthony Ford.
This commissioner states that he is
Yes,
subject to the
right.
Conscientious Protection
Director,
Act,
call the vote.
and that if this commissioner, if this board acts, they're violating the New Jersey Lab Act.
Director, can you please call the vote?
Anthony Forbes.
Councilman
Mr. Forbes?
Russo, Commissioner Impastato, former Chair Weaver,
Director.
former Chair Mello, all of these people have made public comments.
Excuse me, and you have been given
Go on,
enough
keep laughing.
reason.
I love it.
You have been given enough time for public discussion on this matter, and as the chairwoman, I am requesting now that the director please call the vote.
Wait, this discussion is not about innocence, is it? This is just
Director,
pure
could we please
political
call the vote?
attack.
Could we please call the vote?
Come on.
I'm not a
Do it.
politician, there's no political
Do it. I will
notice
wear
here.
this
Thank
censure
you.
as a badge of honor.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Director,
Bunch of criminals.
Anthony Forbes.
Yes.
Andrew Impastato.
Yes.
Aaron Lewitt.
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
yes.
Michael Russo.
Yes.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Thank you.
The actions of this board are criminal.
Motion to close?
Motion.
To adjourn? All in favor? Have a good night. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you, staff.